Hello, good morning. Is this Agri Lady?
This is Agri Lady from the Technology Education Designing Lab. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm Farmer Browne and I need your help. I'm having some problems with some animals. They are attacking my crops. I'm a cocoa farmer and I'm getting attacked by birds, rodents. They're just destroying and damaging my crops. Now, I tried everything. I tried biological, I tried cultural, I tried manual, and it's still just not working. But I heard, right, that you could use robotics to help me with the situation. But I find it too technical and something real hard. It's not like if I can't do that, and also, I don't know if I can afford that. That's something like it real expensive. You think that maybe you can help me?
Okay, we will use design thinking process or method to solve this problem. I will get back to you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hello, I am Agri Lady, and today we are going to solve a problem using the design thinking method approach. Come on, let's go.
Welcome to the Technology Education Designing Laboratory. The objectives you should achieve for this mission, should you choose to accept it, are to understand the design thinking method or process, to identify and explain the 5 stages of the design thinking method, to learn how to apply the design thinking method to solve any problem using Farmer Browne's issue as an example.
You're probably asking yourself, what is a design thinking method or process?
Design thinking process or method is a hands-on systematic approach to solving problems creatively and effectively. It encourages students to understand the needs of others, brainstorm solutions, prototype ideas, and test them continuously. There are 5 stages in designing. 1. Empathize. 2. Define the problem. 3. Ideate. 4. Prototype. 5. Test and evaluate. Stage 1. Empathize. This means to understand the problem from the human point of view, and in this case, Farmer Browne. Let us recap. What is affecting Farmer Browne and how is she feeling?
And I'm getting attacked by birds, rodents. They're just destroying and damaging my crops. I tried cultural, I tried manual, and it's still just not working.
Stage 2. Define the problem. To define the problem, we have to identify and understand the problem. What is the problem? What does Farmer Browne want help with?
But I heard, right, that you could use robotics to help me with the situation. But I find it too technical and something real hard. It's not like if I can't do that, and also, I don't know if I can afford that. That's something like it real expensive.
Now we know the problem, we can now design our challenge with specifications that will provide guidelines on how to design the solution. The challenge would be to design a robotic device that is functional, includes recyclable materials, is easy to use, and is affordable, that is, it costs less than $500 to build. This brings us to stage 3, the ideate process. This process involves the selection of the best solution. The ideate process can be divided into 2 phases. Phase 1, the generation and gathering of a large number of ideas and potential or possible solutions to a problem. And Phase 2, the selection of the best solution for further development. Phase 1, to generate and gather potential solutions, research should be conducted using various sources of information. There are several sources of information. These are printed text materials such as books, journals, etc., the use of internet sources, and interviews with experts. All gathered information should be relevant to the research topic, properly referenced, accurately recorded, annotated, and labeled. Here are examples of how to cite references. Pause the video to review the different methods for recording them, and then press play to continue viewing the video.
After research, we have discovered the following. 1. Some insects, rodents, and bird pests are scared away by bird calls and ultrasonic signals. Point number 2. There are certain electronic components that can be used in our robotic device to deter or scare away pests. So we came up with 2 possible solutions. Possible solution 1. the robotic deterrer. Possible solution number 2, robotic scarecrow bird. Which one should we choose? They both have their advantages and their disadvantages. Which one?
That is where phase 2 of the ideate process steps in. This phase involves selecting the best possible solution from the other potential solutions. This is also referred to as the chosen solution. This process involves 3 steps. 1. Assess all possible solutions using various assessment tools. 2. Identify, state, and/or sketch the chosen solution. 3. Identify and state the rationale and limitations of the chosen solution. There are several assessment methods used to select the chosen solution. These include voting, feasibility funnel tunnel, rating scale, and the ranking scheme.
Which one? I know. Let us use the ranking scheme method to make the choice for us.
Ranking scheme method is used when there are multiple possible solutions to select from. This involves assigning scores to each possible solution in order of preference. Only one possible solution can have the highest rank. Let us look at Agri, Lady, and the designing team example. The chosen solution is the robotic deterrer because it has the highest ranking score. The chosen solution, its limitations and rationale must be clearly stated and documented.
Let's get ready to build!
The 4th stage of the designing process is to prototype. This involves the building of the product or prototype. Prior to building the prototype, the steps involved in building the prototype should be known. All resources required to build the prototype must be listed and collected. It is important to note that safety of the participants and the environment are crucial during this stage. All participants must wear their personal protective equipment, PP. Additionally, all activities must be supervised by a responsible adult.
Here is a list of tools, materials, and electronic components used to build the robotic deterrer. Please pause the video to review each item and its function. Then press play to continue watching. The developmental procedures or the steps involved in creating the robotic deterrer consisted of 5 steps. These steps were: Step 1, building the housing container. Step 2, wiring the electronic components. Step 3, programming the microcontroller. Step 4, testing the electronic components. And Step 5, installing the electronic components into the housing container. The first step involved measuring, marking, and cutting the designated areas on the container where the PIR sensor, ultrasonic transducer, and speaker will be mounted. Once these openings were prepared, the container was sprayed for aesthetic purposes. The second step involved wiring the electronic components to the Arduino microcontroller, which will coordinate the functions of the PIR sensor, speaker, and ultrasonic transducer. All components must be properly connected to power and ground. Step 3 involved programming the Arduino microcontroller using the Arduino software. This process included writing and uploading codes to instruct the sensor to detect movement or sound, triggering specific responses. Once programmed, the speaker will emit bird sounds and the ultrasonic transducer will generate sound waves to scare away pests. Once the wiring and programming were completed, the next step is to test the system to ensure it's functioning correctly. The presence of the pest is simulated by activating the sensors and monitoring the device's response. The final step was to install the electronic components into the housing container. The sensor, speaker, and ultrasonic transducer were glued into their designated cut area. Once installed, a final round of testing was conducted to ensure the device is fully operational.
This brings us to stage 5. This stage comprises of 2 phases: testing and evaluation. Phase 1. Testing is where you try out your prototype to see how well it works. The testing process involves using the prototype in real-life scenarios, gathering feedback from users, and observing how they interact with it. The goal of testing is to identify any issues or areas for improvement so you can refine your solution and make it better. It's a crucial step to determine whether the final product effectively solved the problem and met the specification requested.
To test the robotic deterrer, a field test was conducted at Farmer Browne's cocoa estate. The process included observations, a field test, and a survey. All results were documented for assessment and evaluation.
Phase 2 of Stage 5 Evaluation. This is where you assess and analyze the prototype or solution to determine its effectiveness. Evaluation includes collecting feedback, measuring performance, and comparing the results against the original goals and criteria or specifications. Let's help the design team assess and evaluate the testing results of the performance of the robotic deterrer. But before we do so, let's recap the challenge and its specifications. The challenge is to design a robotic device that is functional, is easy to use, includes recyclable materials, and is affordable, costs less than $500 to build. This is Farmer Browne's survey results. What is your evaluation? Did the robotic deterrer meet the first two specifications? Take this time to pause the video and reflect before answering the question. Once you've done so, press play to continue with the evaluation. If your answer is yes, then you are correct. Both specifications were met based on the responses of Farmer Browne. Let us continue to the next evaluation. This is the designing team observations. Did the robotic deterrer meet the last two specifications? Take this time to pause the video and reflect before answering the question. Once you've done so, press play to continue with the evaluation. If your answer is yes, then you are correct. Both specifications were met based on the observations of the designing team. Well done. Any product improvements, self-evaluation, and group evaluation are noted and documented in the evaluation process.
What was your experience?
I learned about robots
Uh-huh.
and I had lots of fun. But we need to do more coding.
The goal of evaluation is to understand how well the solution addresses the problem, identify any areas for improvement, and decide on the next step.
Pop quiz. What is the design thinking method or process? How many stages are in the design thinking method or process? Design thinking process or method is a problem-solving method that focuses on understanding people's needs, coming up with creative ideas, and testing them to find the best solution. The design thinking process involves 5 stages. Emphasize. Define the problem. Ideate. Prototype. Test and evaluate.
The robotic deterrer was a success.
Well done, Agri-Lady and the designing team. The objectives were accomplished. In today's session, we have learned what is the design thinking method or process, how to identify and explain the 5 stages of the design thinking method, and how to apply the design thinking method to solve any problem, using Farmer Browne issue as an example.
So, until another problem arises, keep designing. Bye!
This message will not self-destruct in 20 seconds. You can review it as many times as you want.